Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. So without wasting any time, let's move to the newspaper. First we will identify the important news and then we'll move on to the analysis section. So this is Tuesday, April 5, 2022, the Hindu Daily edition. Okay, so we'll be identifying the most important news for our examination, then we'll go on to analyze them. Okay, so Pakistan is in a state of turbulence, fine, nothing much important for our examination, leave it. Just know that it is in turbulence, right? Opposition rejects Gotabaya's offer. Now this is related to Sri Lanka. Again, Sri Lanka is facing emergencies, so it is related to that, and they all cannot come on the same table. So this is also not very important. Just know about it. Okay. Lok Sabha passes new criminal procedure bill. Okay, fine. That same thing. Identification bill. It has been passed by Lok Sabha. And energy sector needs a major revamp. IPCC has said this. So we'll see these two news on first page. Let's see. There is nothing in news in brief. On this page we generally do not get anything on this page much important. Okay, and is there anything? No, there isn't. Is there anything? There is no. No. Now let's come to the tutorial. The road to Ukraine peace runs through Delhi. Okay, if you are preparing for this interview right now, then please read this article. From mains and prelims point of view, it is irrelevant. Fine. Game of the Throne. Imran Khan moves to cling power betray. No, not important. Push the policy needle forward on migrant support. Yes, this is important. And a pause to reflect government of India Bharat Biotech should strive for better communication on vaccine safety. Okay, fine. Yesterday's news on WHO suspending temporarily for getting the facility and R&D better for Bharat Biotech medicine. This is for that only. Okay, fine. So we'll have a one editorial here. No, better early than dead children on autism spectrum who have been part of early intervention program has shown great progress. Okay, we can see it and maybe we can get some point regarding children section of society paper, right? GS1. Text and context. India Australia trade agreement. We'll give reading of the gist only. Not important. That's so. Okay, because never I have seen that question have direct come on a bilateral relation that discuss about India Australia. Never it has come like that. The question will always on international relation also the question comes in a big picture kind of format. Partial rollback of AFSPA will give the reading to gist only. Why? Because every now and then it comes and the things are almost same. The caste hierarchies and migration pattern. Yes, we can give a read to this, but I think gist will be sufficient in this also. Okay, let's move further. Is there anything on this page? Okay, there is one. No need to for laws to enforce duty on citizen. Will give it a read. And anything else? Okay, no. Okay, there is nothing stalled over fuel hike prices. Consensus emerging on privacy and regulation. Okay, there is nothing. Okay, just know it. Vinay Quatra will be the new foreign secretary. Okay, IPCC may spell down. Okay, we have to see this. This is a news related to IPCC. It may be important. We'll have to read it. Okay, nothing here. Nothing here as well. Okay, there is this news. 99% of world population is breathing polluted air. We have to see. And is there anything else? No, it does not seem so. And on business page also I don't. Okay, there is this PMI again, producers manufacturers index, right? Have a look on it. It is just like that only. Import grew 55% to hit record. Now this we can see the technical terms. For arbitration terms, no here in brief anything. No, nothing here. And then on this page there is nothing much. Just know this: no Indian in ICC women team. This is disappointing, but still they are doing good, better than I have known. I think it is the best time for Indian women cricket. They should aim more high. Okay, there is nothing here. Okay, so finally we have identified most important news for today, and now we move towards analysis of the news. Fine. So Lok Sabha passes the new criminal procedure bill. That thing, criminal procedure identification bill. From 3-4 days it has been in news. Why a voice vote? It means that just by saying I and seeing that the quantity is good, so the speaker said that okay, it is deemed passed. Seek to repeal Identification of Prisoners Act 1920 allow collection, storage and analysis of physical and biological samples including retina and iris scan of convicted, arrested, detained person. Okay, just know this, that it has been passed. Now it will go to Rajya Sabha. Limiting global warming, heritage energy sector needs major revamp. IPCC limiting global warming will require major transition in energy sector, and this will mean drastically reducing fossil fuel use, widespread electrification, improved energy efficiency and use of alternative fuels. A consortium of scientists that is part of IPCC said in a statement on Monday. Okay, fine. So this is expected that energy sector revamping is necessary if we want a more cooler earth. Fine, and IPCC is saying the same thing. And let's move on to the this page, news page, page number 10 now. No need for law to enforce duties on citizen. Okay, we'll give it a read. Our Attorney General K.K. Venugopal has said something. Let's see. Attorney General says Supreme Court cannot issue mandamus. Okay, so it is a very technical term. It is a writ, okay, to Parliament to make such law. So what is Attorney General saying? That Supreme Court cannot issue a mandamus. Mandamus means simply we command. Okay, so this is what it has come. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal on Monday said that there was no need to enact a specific law to enforce fundamental duties on citizen. Mr. Venugopal, in capacity as Constitution Office, capacity as a constitutional office, said Supreme Court cannot issue mandamus to Parliament to make such law. Lawyers petition a bench led by Sanjay Kishan Kaul said in the court that the court has been very circumspect in entertaining a public interest PIL petition filed by lawyer Durga Dutt to enforce fundamental duties on citizens, including patriotism and unity of nation through comprehensive, well-defined laws. Mr. Venugopal took the objection to petitioner lack of research, saying that he had cared to look, the Ministry of Law and Justice website would have shown him detailed account of the tremendous work done by the government to create awareness among public of their fundamental duties. Mr. Dutt has wanted to know what the government has done to comply with Supreme Court in direction of Ranganath Mishra judgment of 2003 regarding implementation of justice. Okay, JS Verma committee reported the operationalization of fundamental duties. The committee worked as a part of report to National Commission to review the working of Constitution. The report has urged the government to sensitize people to and create general awareness of their duty and protection of minorities and freedom of religion. The Supreme Court on February 21 issued a notice to center and state on this question. I object to this petition. The Department of Justice website shows tremendous amount of work which has been done for purpose of sensitizing people, both citizens and students, about Article 51A, that is fundamental duties. The duties are part of school curriculum. The President and Prime Minister have addressed this aspect from time to time. A 1 year awareness drive was launched. Mr. Venugopal, who was called to assist the court, submitted. Government could file affidavit. However, the court said the government could very well file an affidavit based on which bench could deal with the petition. Counsel appearing for Solicitor General Office representing the government agreed to file a response in 4 weeks. The court listed the case in July after summer vacation. Okay, so the case is simply that what about enforcement of fundamental duties, and Mr. Venugopal, the Attorney General, has said that in an objection has said that court cannot issue commanding order, that is mandamus to the Parliament to make such a law. Fine. So let's move further and see if any else news is remaining on this page. Nothing here. Yes. Know this fact: Vinay Quatra will be the new Foreign Secretary. He will be replacing whom? Next Foreign Secretary. An announcement. Who is our Foreign Secretary? I think Yes, Harshvardhan Sangharila is there. Shringla retires at appointment committee of cabinet said. Okay, so present Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla is going to retire, and Vinay Mohan Quatra will become the new Foreign Secretary, right? And after this, yes, IPCC report may spell death knell for coal-based unit. Let's see what it has to say. Central Electricity Authority said India has about 211 gigawatt of operational coal-fired power plant, 10% of global capacity. Okay. They have said that Monday that all coal power plant without technologies to capture and store carbon need to be shuttered by 2050 if the world aspires to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. These scientists were part of working group of 3. Okay, according to Central Electricity Authority, India has about more than 200 gigawatts of operational coal-fired powered plant, roughly 10% of global capacity. As Global Energy Monitor data, around 31 gigawatt was being constructed and about 24 gigawatts in various pre-construction phases. None of the existing under construction coal power plant in India have CCS facility. Now this is really harsh and heartbreaking condition with respect to India, that none of the old one has installed CCS facilities. Having the right policy, infrastructure and technology in place and enable changes in our lifestyle and behavior can result in 70% of reduction in greenhouse gases emission by 2050. This offers significant untapped potential. Okay. The evidence also shows that these lifestyle changes can improve our health and well-being. So what it is saying, that right policies, infrastructure, technology and change in our lifestyle and behavior can result in 70% reduction in greenhouse gas emission by 2050. Now this is an example of behavioral change along with right policy change. It can be written in examination. The summary for working group 3 as document is known was approved by 195 members. Okay, and all those things. It is a third statement of IPCC 6th assessment report which will be completed this year. Methane reduction in the scenarios by scientists, limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius required global greenhouse gas emission peak before 2025 at the latest to be reduced by 43% by 2030. At the same time, methane would also be needed to reduce. So methane, we have to reduce methane as well by about 1/3. Even if this happens, it was almost inevitable that ceiling would be temporarily breached, but appropriate action it could drip down by end of the century. It is now or never if we want limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so it is saying that this curve is now inevitable, that if this is 1.5 degrees Celsius, now it will go temporarily up and then it will come down and get stabilized like this. The global temperature will stabilize when carbon dioxide emission reaches net zero. For 1.5 degrees Celsius, this means achieving net zero by early 2050s, for 2 degrees Celsius by early 2070s. Even limiting warming in around 2 degrees Celsius for us would still require global greenhouse gas emission to be peak before 2025, at last to be reduced by a quarter by 2030. The report is a stark reminder of all developed countries to significantly bring forward their transition to net zero. This would also have additional carbon space for countries like India to meet their development priorities in part to achieving their net zero target. Further, to accelerate the low carbon transition, developed countries should ensure higher flow of finances, again the same thing, on technology transfer in critical areas such as renewables, electric vehicles and others. Said okay, so it is just saying that IPCC 6th report, assessment report, it is highlighting some of the facts, right? And let's see anything else is there or not. 99% of world population is breathing in polluted air, obviously. Study covered on 6,000 cities and other settlements in 117 nation. Okay, who has conducted the study? WHO. Fine, so this is a case study that could be written, thus this much. Okay, leading to millions of deaths each year. Okay, 99% of people on earth breathe in air containing too many pollutants. WHO study confirmed this. Fine. And after that we move on to why this import has increased. In India's merchandise import hit a record of 610.2 billion, increased by 54.7%. Okay, imports grew by itna year on itna from March exports on the month. Okay, with exports almost 418 billion in 22. The trade deficit was about $192.4 billion. Okay, and let's see anything else is there. So there is nothing much now left, so we directly move on to our editorial analysis. So this is our editorial: push the policy needle forward on migrant support. Okay, amid the scattered experimentation now, the center must offer strategic policy guidelines for interstate coordination. We'll see what this article wants to say. Let me zoom in now. Okay, only 2 years ago, in the wake of nationwide lockdown, India was left shocked by the plight of migrant workers. Fine. The dire circumstances of migrants tuggled at our collective heartstrings, okay. They became focus of large-scale relief efforts by government and civil societies alike. The government ramped on one nation, one ration card project announced affordable renting houses complexes scheme to set up e-shram portal to began a draft migration policy. This initiative generated hope that the migrant crisis of 2020 would be turning point, seeing India firmly on policy path and offering adequate citizenship and accompanying social, economic and political rights to internal migrants. Achha. Still a tale of distress. 2 years now, migrant distress has disappeared from our television screens, but continues to be a live reality. Repeated surveys have found that income of migrants household continue to be lower than pre-pandemic levels even after returning to cities. Migrants finding less work and their children eating less. The forced 1991 poverty alleviation and almost 300 million Indians driven by migration out of farm work is being undone. Despite this, a cohesive migration policy guidelines remain elusive. Instead, disconnected policy initiative and technocratic fixes chases specific agendas, while nativism reasserts itself through domicile quotas and reservation. It wants to say that even in such dire situation, a policy which was the first requirement is still not in our reach, is still elusive. Instead of that, there are disconnected policy initiatives and technocratic fixes are there that chases specific agenda. Fine. While the nativism, the son of the soil policy, is reasserting itself through domicile quota and reservations. The agenda of migrant inclusion has been pushed to the periphery of our collective consciousness. This is not something India can afford to precipitate. Today, a third of nation workforce is mobile. Okay, today what has happened? 1/3 of national workforce is mobile, is moving. Migrant fuel critical sectors such as manufacturing, construction, hospitality, logistics, and commercial agriculture. Despite clear economic and humanitarian reasoning to bring back migrants into the policy discourse, the current policy scenario is at best fragmented. So it is saying, despite there has been clear economic and humanitarian reasoning to bring migrants back into the policy discourse, the current policy scenario is what? Fragmented and was waning, and it is decreasing day by day. To course correct, we must recognize the entrenched structural constraint. Okay, to make things correct, we must recognize the entrenched structural constraints, slowing the migration policy momentum and taking strategic step towards the policy needle forward. Okay, a politicized phenomena. First, we must recognize that migration is a highly politicized phenomena in India. States are highly influenced by political economy of migration. Destination states experiences a tension between economic needs, which requires migrant labor, and political needs, which promotes nativist policy and impose domicile restrictions on employment and social security. On the flip side, the sending state are highly motivated to serve their own people because they vote in their source village. The fragmented policy responses to internal migration follows from state-specific calculation to what political dividends might be reaped by investing fiscal administrative resource towards migration. It is saying that it is the mix of political policies, political requirement, as well as socio-economic requirement that is one of the structural challenges in that is stopping us from making a migrant policy. Fine. Now what happens? The destination states, there is economy versus ethics thing. Okay, it experiences a tension between economic need, which requires migrant labor, and a political need, which promotes nativist policy. So to drive the economy of the destination region, what is needed? Migrant workforce is needed because they provide cheap labor to the economy. And to drive the political needs, so what is needed? Votes are needed, and votes are given by the local people. So nativist agenda is also on the cards. Fine. Now let's see the flip side. Sending states are highly motivated to serve their own people. Why? Because they have given them vote. This fragmented polity means of sending state and the destination state is a policy response to internal migration, follows the state specific calculation on what political dividends might be reaped. Okay, so this fragmented policy response to internal migration follows what? State specific calculations on which political dividend might be reaped or lost by investing the fiscal and administrative resource towards the migrants. Moreover, development policies in India has bet big on rural development as antidote to migration. Okay, And apart from those in earlier mentioned, what is the one more thing, that India is focusing more on rural development for it to be developed as a panacea for migration. This is widespread sedentary biased. This widespread sedentary bias continues to influence the policy even through migration. Even though migration is an important pathway for improvised marginalized rural household to find economic security, right? Second, the first one is migration being a highly politicized phenomena. Second one is migrants are perennially fuzzy category of policy discourse, located inside two larger categories that has been long troubled policymaker: the unorganized worker and urban poor. So migrants are often looked as the unorganized worker and the urban poor. Even the e-Shram portal, which has made impressive progress in registering unorganized worker, has been unable to accurately distinguish the target migrants. Policy interventions in major urban destinations continue to conflate the urban poor. Okay, so policy intervention in major urban destinations continue to conflate the urban poor with low income migrants. Acha. Hence, slum development continues as primary medium for alleviating migrant concern. What is saying? Policy intervention in major urban destination continues to conflate the urban poor with low income migrant. So what happened, that in major urban destinations, what is happening? Policy intervention is at what level? Is at level of urban poor, who are often equated with low income migrant. Therefore, slum development continues as primary medium. Oh, so it says that therefore, to alleviate the position, to emancipate the urban poor, to emancipate the migrant worker of their pains and grievances, what they do? They do slum development, because they think, what the policy thinks, that urban poor and the migrant worker are one and same thing. Fine. Therefore, slum development will lead to development or emancipation of the challenges of low income migrants. Fine. For alleviation, it is written as a migrant concern, while in reality most migrants live on work site and are entirely out of the policy gaze. But in reality, what happens? Most of the migrants live on the work site only. They don't have even access to household. They have their tents there, or they simply sleep on the ground. There seems to be an implicit assumption of the policy circle: if we cannot solve the problem of informality, how can we help migrant? Okay, there is an implicit assumption in the policy circle. And what is that assumption? If we cannot solve the problem of informality, how can we help migrant? Further, it is assumed that migrant will be automatically catered to with the formalization of economy. It is also assumed that when the economy become formal, the challenges of a migrants worker will also be removed, and they will be automatically catered with the formalization of economy, the labor market, formalization of economy, the labor market and housing market, finance, and so on. So it is saying that with economic development and more formalization of economy, the migrants will be emancipated of their challenges. Okay, this pushes the timeline for addressing the migrant issues far out. So what happens, that considering that migrant issues can be solved as a byproduct of solving the issues of economic development of the region, destination region and source region both, it is seen that the challenge for the timeline for addressing migrant issue remains far. Okay, gaps in data. Third, migrant policy discourse is seemingly paralyzed now by well acknowledged failure of official data sets. So we don't have a official data set to capture the actual scale and frequency of internal migration in India. Data system designed periodically to record only one special equation have posed great challenge to welfare delivery of up to 500 million people who are part of multi-location migrant household. Okay, the novel coronavirus pandemic has placed a sharp focus on problems such as educating and vaccinating those children who accompany their migrant parent, or ensuring that migrant women avail maternity benefit at multiple locations. Okay. Policy in India often emerges from ground up, taking decades to cement into national law and standard practice. We have seen this in education, food security, migrant too. Despite the structural constraint outlined above, it is heartening to see how initiative on ground that has immense potential to influence strategic shifts in migrant policy. For example, states have initiated data projects that can track migrant and generate dynamic real-time data that aid welfare delivery. Okay, Maharashtra examples ले लेते हैं. Let's see some examples. Maharashtra migration tracking system, which focuses on women and children, has been successfully piloted in 5 districts. Okay, this is a case study for migrant migrant policy making. Chhattisgarh state migrant worker policy is premised on registering migrant worker at source and tracking them through phone-based outreach system. In states, a heightened awareness about migrants issues is locating initiative in department other than labor, which has traditionally been nodal department for migrant and welfare. For example, Maharashtra MTS is located within women and child. For example, Maharashtra MTS is located within women and child development department. However, there is further need for multi-sectoral approach. Multi-sectoral approach underpinned by strategic convergence across government department and initiative. Orissa Planning and Converge Department, which offers institutional mechanism for interdepartmental coordination, is one possible model. Okay, so for this is a model. The center has lead role. Obviously, center will have lead role. It is a scenario of well-meaning but scattered experimentation. Migrant would be well served if center plays a proactive role in offering strategic policy guidance and platform for interstate coordination. State level political economic constraint make center role particularly crucial in addressing the interstate migration workers at destination state. Fine. The Niti Aayog draft policy on migrant worker is positive step forward. The Niti Aayog's draft policy on migrant worker is positive step forward, articulating policy priorities and indicating suitable institutional framework and deserves a speedy release. Okay. At time when economic recovery and inclusive growth are urgent policy goals, migrant policy can hardly afford to gestate. Strategic initiative to provide migrant safety and nets and regardless of location, as well as bolster their ability to migrate safely and affordably, must keep the momentum towards migrant support policy. Okay, this was a good article. Many points are there regarding migrant challenges and how could it be dealt. Make a note of this in your notes where you study migrant part, right? So this is a one more article. Better early than late. Children on autism spectrum have been a part of early intervention program, have shown great progress. Okay, who is she? Reena Menon, founder director in Bridge. Okay, so here is a story of Samiran. If you want, you can read it. It is a very good, not good, it is a very compassionate story. What is early intervention? The set of services towards identification, assessment and multi-pronged therapeutic approach to disabling condition in 0 to 3 age group is referred to as early intervention. Just know its definition. We'll write it in examination. Whenever question comes about children challenges, say disease or say drug abuse or say violence and all those things, or school bullying etc., then we can say what early interventions are needed. Okay. Early intervention programs takes advantage of neural plasticity or ability of the brain to mold itself to stimuli. Okay, this is the main reason for any early intervention program. Okay, the brain will mold according to it, and that too in small age group, this molding is very easier. There are many signs that parents could look for, so parental vigilance is one of the most important factor in child care. Okay, then let's see. Okay, now three big challenges to early intervention. The three big challenges to early intervention are parental ignorance and unwillingness to accept the fact and social stigma attached to it. Okay, so what are the three main challenges? Parents ignorance, unwillingness to accept the facts and social stigma. What is needed? An integrated approach. Okay, pediatricians are the first point of contact. Okay, pediatrics are the first point of contact. A diligent practitioner can pick up the red flags and all those things. Communication within the team is critical. No, not necessary. Parents need to be educated on home plans and in dealing with the condition and behavior of the child. Extended family roles cannot be ignored. Children who have been part of early intervention programs show remarkable progress, and process of their integration with mainstream has been faster. A program that prevents disabling condition is better than one that tries to minimize the effects when disability has set in. Fine, it's a good article, but don't look it in the prism of only autism, right? It can be related to entire child section of society paper. Okay, so let's see if anything else is left. I don't find anything else. So, oh no, yes, 2-3 things are left. The gist for India-Australia relation: on April 2nd, India and Australia signed ETCA. The agreement is expected to increase the trade between two sides by 45 to 50 billion over 5 years. Australia will get opportunity to explore wide variety of agricultural produce, and in turn will provide preferential access to all labor-intensive sectors of export items from India. They have also agreed to fast-track approval of patented generic and biosimilar medicine under Article 13.5. Both parties have agreed to hold consultation to make effort to find a solution to disputes. Okay, fine. Partial rollback of AFSPA. 31st March, Ministry of Home Affairs said that partial rollback Section 3 of AFSPA empowers the state and UTs to declare an area disturbed. The act is said to give unbridled power to armed forces in disturbed areas to kill anyone acting in contravention of the law and arrest anyone without a warrant. Okay, so it directly curbs what? The civil liberties, and there is also risk on life. The decision was triggered after the revival of anti-AFSPA demand following killing of 13 people in Nagaland's Moon district case. Okay, fine. So this is it will come every now and then, because AFSPA is a very recurring issue, and so is this trade agreement. So just read to the gist and know the facts that yes, this is happening. As far as exam is concerned, it's very difficult to say that it will come directly. Yes, under security challenges, a broad questions can be asked, out of which one part can be AFSPA, its the relevance and its challenges. But if you say the question will be directly asked on this, then it will be falling around, right? So there's one more thing: caste hierarchies and migration pattern. How economic wealth and ownership of asset through caste network influences international migration. Okay, what I can imagine right now is the people from Punjab migrating to Canada. It can be an example. Let's first read the gist and see if that can be an example or not. The paper outlines how caste identities of migrants can influence migration patterns and the benefits attained through migration. Okay, influence the migration pattern. What? Caste identities, like Punjab people, not exactly caste identities. I am not saying that some particular group of caste, but yes, people who know each other or have some kind of attachment to each other. It could be caste, it could be the region, it could be anything. Through the narratives from the wives of migrant who has been left behind, the paper shows that the relative economic affluence of backward caste in comparison to the group from most backward caste and scheduled caste made the process of migration easier and also helped them to gain job with better pay and benefits. What they have seen, that the backward caste got better job opportunities than SCs and STs. Why? And MBCs, most backward caste. Why? Because of their left behind, the papers relative economic affluence. Okay, so initially they had some money with them, economic affluence was good, so they used that affluence to create contacts that let them get a better paid job. Overseas migration helped those engaged in caste-based occupation in their villages to shift to other job sector and improve their economic position. However, most of them are able to make end meet only because women from these communities continue to work caste-based occupation and support the financial need of their families. Okay, give it a read. I don't think it is very important for examination. Yes, some points can be written, and I think this point can be economic wealth and ownership of asset through, not caste network, right, is through through created networks of known people via caste, region, religion, etc. influence domestic and international migration. Give example of Bihar, Jharkhand goes to labor work. Fine. Keralites, UAE, the Gulf countries. Punjabis, where? Canada, etc. So this will do your work. Look, every article can at most become a point in our answer. It cannot become a paragraph in our answer. It is not warranted and it cannot be done because of the constraint of time and space. Okay, so with this, yes, with this we come to the end of today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you like it, and I don't find any other news in the newspaper. Okay then, so this is the end of today's newspaper. Okay, so friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams, and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard and follow your dreams.